Let us see today additional features of pivot table. In the last video, we saw how to use calculated fields to calculate pre-decided matrix. In this particular video, we will see how to represent pivot table in different formats, what are the different views, and also we will see how to use slicers in this video. Okay, so let us go ahead and create a pivot table first. Go to insert, click on pivot table, select OK. So let us quickly create one small sample table. We'll put rows, store in the rows, product in the columns, and we'll put the number of products sold in the values. So this gives us the total products sold by store. Now let's say we wanted to drill the store based on product. So the easiest way is to bring product under rows. So this is how we drill or slice based on our parameters. We can right click on the field and we can click collapse entire field. This will collapse the entire sub features available within under store. Now let us say we are having a requirement where we want to put store and product parallelly in two columns. How do we do it? By default, pivot table will open in a compact form. So the label and sub label will fall below it. So there is an option available in pivot table. If we go to pivot table design, report layout, and we can show in outline form. When you click here, you see store and product have split into two columns and product falls at the column adjoining to store. Now there is another option where we can put in a tabular form as we see normal tables. So we can click anywhere in the pivot chart, go here and click on show tabular form. So what do we see here? We see a subtotal column added by default here. If I go back, click on show outline form, the subtotal column is not available. So in analysis where we require subtotals, it is always wise to use tabular format, which will give another level of insight. Okay, now let us try out something different here. Let us say we want to slice our store based on products in this fashion. At the same time, we want to slice it based on maybe some quarters. Like in the last video we saw, when we put it below store, the date will split into years, quarters, months and date. So currently let us see only for the years, and let us pull out all the remaining features. So here when you see the years, we see a subtotal at the bottom. Now if you want to remove this subtotal or if you want to add some more subtotals, how do we do it? So we'll modify this pivot table here. We'll go to grand totals and we'll off for rows and columns. So when we do that, you see the subtotal column for the grand total has gone away. Now if you want to remove this subtotal for rows as well, what we can do? Don't show subtotals. So it is in tabular format, but like in outline form, the subtotal has gone away. If you want to bring it back, we have to go again to subtotals. We can show all subtotals at bottom of the group. Correct? Now if you want to bring back the grand totals, we can bring back the grand totals on for rows and columns. Till now we saw how to change the shape of pivot table. Also we learned how to add and modify subtotals and grand totals. Now in this particular form, let us try to drill it not using this numerical filter. Let us try to drill it visually. How do we do it? We'll bring the yes back to the field. Now, in the pivot table analyze, we can see there is an option called slicer and timeline. There is a difference between slicer and timeline. Timeline can only be added for date fields, which has date, and slicer can be added to any field. So we'll start with the date here. We click on insert timeline. It selects the field which is of date type by default. If there are multiple fields, the multiple fields will populate here. Click on date, click OK. Now you see a chart where we can toggle between the quarters visually. Let's say these are in year and month. Let us reduce the granularity to quarters. So now we have year and quarter. Let's say I wanted only for quarter 2, 3, 4 of 2010. So I'll select 2. I will drag till quarter 4. It is that easy. So if when we play with this, you see the data on the left side, it is changing. So the filter is added directly on the corresponding pivot table. Let's say we wanted to apply another slicer. We click here, we go to pivot table analyze, go on insert slicer. Let's say we want to put a slicer on the products. We want to analyze only few products which are of interest to us. We'll come here, we'll click on whatever products we want to analyze by pressing control, and those products only will reflect here. This could have been directly done from here as well, but the feature that it provides is it helps you in building a dashboard. Suppose you have multiple pivot tables, then these slices, when they are synced together, this will help you in filtering the entire dashboard based on the selected slicer and timeline slicer. Okay, you can practice this using different data sets and try to drill down to the granularity which you require in your analysis. Thank you.